Welcome back to the deep dive, where we take a deep dive into the fascinating world of crypto. Today, today we're going to be tackling a question that's probably on a lot of your minds. Why did some of the biggest altcoins, like Ethereum, Dogecoin, XRP, and Solana, take a tumble this week?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the timing is particularly interesting because Bitcoin, the OG of crypto, actually held relatively steady.
So why the disparity? That's what we're here to unpack. We've got an insightful article from trcrypto.news titled, "Here's Why Ethereum, Dogecoin, XRP, Solana Dropped This Week." And we're going to break it down for you. What really jumped out at me was this whole idea of trade war fears creeping into the crypto market.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a great example of how global events can ripple through seemingly unrelated markets. You see, when former President Trump announced those tariffs on Mexico, Canada, and China, it injected a massive dose of uncertainty into the global economy.
And uncertainty is never a good thing for investors, right? Especially those dealing with assets considered riskier, like cryptocurrencies.
Exactly. While the tariffs on Canada and Mexico were eventually paused, the ones on China are still in play. And that ongoing tension has the potential to escalate into a full-blown trade war, which could make investors think twice about holding on to volatile assets like altcoins.
It makes you realize just how interconnected everything is. So for those of you listening, this is a great reminder to pay attention to the broader economic and geopolitical landscape, because what seems like a distant event can actually have a real impact on your crypto investments.
Couldn't agree more. Another factor that seems to be playing a role is the behavior of institutional investors.
Right. The article pointed out that companies like MicroStrategy, which had been on a Bitcoin buying spree, recently hit the pause button. And there have even been net outflows from Bitcoin and Ethereum spot markets. What's going on there?
Well, institutional investors, with their massive resources and long-term strategies, are often seen as a stabilizing force in any market. Their hesitation or even withdrawal could be a sign that they're sensing some turbulence ahead. And when the big players get cautious, it can create a ripple effect, particularly in a market as sensitive as crypto.
Okay, so we've got trade war fears and institutional investors pumping the brakes. Is there anything else contributing to this altcoin dip?
Well, we can't forget about market psychology. The Crypto Fear and Greed Index recently dipped to 35, which indicates a pretty strong fear sentiment in the market.
So basically, the overall mood is pretty gloomy right now. But how does that actually translate into market behavior?
When fear takes hold, investors tend to become more risk-averse. They might start selling off their assets, especially those considered more volatile. It's like altcoins, which can further drive prices down.
It's a bit of a domino effect, isn't it? One thing starts to wobble and the whole market feels it.
Exactly. And to make matters even more interesting, the altcoin season index has also been declining.
Hold on. Altcoin season index. Now there's another index to keep track of. What does that one tell us?
Think of it as a gauge of how altcoins are performing compared to Bitcoin. A declining index suggests that Bitcoin might be outperforming altcoins, potentially driving investors away from the latter.
Okay, so we've got trade war fears, hesitant institutional investors, a fearful market sentiment, and altcoins potentially losing ground to Bitcoin. It's starting to paint a pretty clear picture of why we're seeing this dip. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to our CoinTalk Podcast channel for more deep dives like this. We've got tons of valuable content to help you navigate the world of crypto. We'll be right back with part 2 after a quick break.
Sounds good. Welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were discussing several factors contributing to the recent altcoin dip, from trade war fears to a shift in investor sentiment. But it's not all doom and gloom. There are a few potential bright spots on the horizon.
Right. The article pointed out some interesting chart patterns that could signal a potential turnaround for altcoins. In particular, there's talk of a hammer candlestick pattern forming on the weekly chart.
Yeah, the hammer pattern, for those who aren't familiar with candlestick charts, imagine a candlestick that literally looks like a hammer. It has a long lower shadow, a small body at the top, and little to no upper shadow.
So what makes this hammer a potential sign of hope for struggling altcoins?
Well, a hammer often appears after a downtrend, suggesting a potential reversal. Think of it like this. The market was falling, but buyers stepped in forcefully, pushing the price back up, which creates that long lower shadow. It suggests buying pressure is overcoming selling pressure, potentially forming a support level where prices might stop falling.
So it's like the market's trying to hammer out a bottom. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And if the next candlestick confirms this upward movement, it strengthens the bullish signal. Now, let's shift gears and talk about Bitcoin's bullish flag pattern. This one's a bit more complex, but equally intriguing.
Hit me with it. I'm ready to learn more about this bullish flag.
Okay, picture this. A flag on a pole waving in the wind. The flagpole represents a strong initial upward price movement, and the flag itself represents a period of consolidation where prices move sideways in a narrow range, like the flag taking a pause before the wind pushes it higher.
I'm starting to see it. So if the price breaks out above the upper trend line of the flag, it could signal that the uptrend is likely to resume.
Precisely. It suggests that the pause, or consolidation period, is over, and the bulls are ready to charge ahead. Of course, it's important to remember that these are just potential signals, not guarantees.
Right, because relying solely on chart patterns can be a bit like reading tea leaves. There's so many other factors at play.
Absolutely. Market sentiment, news events, regulatory developments, all of these things can influence price movements. Charts are just one piece of the puzzle.
So what's the takeaway for the average crypto investor who might be seeing these patterns and wondering what to do?
The key is to stay informed and not get swept up in the hype. Look at the broader market trends, the fundamentals of the specific cryptocurrencies you're interested in, and don't invest more than you can afford to lose.
Sound advice. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our CoinTalk Podcast channel for more insights and analysis to help you navigate the exciting world of crypto. We'll be back with the final part of our deep dive after a quick break.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive on the CoinTalk Podcast. You know, one of the most intriguing aspects of this whole altcoin situation is how Bitcoin seems to be holding its own while other cryptocurrencies are taking a hit.
Yeah, it's a fascinating dynamic, isn't it? Bitcoin's resilience has definitely sparked a lot of debate about the future of altcoins. You know, if this trend continues, what does it mean for the broader crypto landscape? That's the million-dollar question, right? In the early days of crypto, it seemed like a new altcoin was popping up every other week, each promising to be the next Bitcoin, but...
Well, now the market seems to be maturing. Investors are perhaps becoming more discerning, less focused on hype, and more interested in projects with solid fundamentals and real-world utility.
It's like we're moving from the Wild West days of crypto to a more sophisticated era where substance trumps speculation.
Perhaps, and that shift could ultimately be a good thing for the overall health of the crypto ecosystem, a focus on quality over quantity, so to speak.
But what does this mean for all those existing altcoin projects out there? Are they all destined to fade into obscurity if Bitcoin continues to dominate?
Not necessarily. The crypto market is incredibly dynamic, and there's always room for innovation and disruption. Altcoins that can demonstrate real value, solve real problems, and adapt to changing market conditions can still thrive.
So it's not a death sentence for altcoins, but more of a call to step up their game.
Exactly. It's a survival of the fittest scenario. The altcoins that can prove their worth, offer something unique and valuable, those are the ones that will likely survive and potentially flourish.
This raises a crucial question for our listeners and something for all of us to ponder. If you're an altcoin investor, what criteria are you using to evaluate projects? Are you looking beyond the hype, digging into the technology, the team, the real-world applications?
Those are excellent questions to ask yourself, and remember, diversification is key. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, whether that's Bitcoin or any single altcoin. Spread your risk, do your research, and invest wisely.
Wise words to end our deep dive. A huge thank you to our expert for sharing their insights today, and to our amazing listeners. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the fascinating world of crypto. If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to our CoinTalk Podcast channel for more insights and analysis to help you navigate the ever-evolving world of crypto. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and keep on diving deep.